Well, good afternoon. I'm Amy Goldman from the AT3 Center, and welcome to today's presentation, some resources that may not be familiar to you, but I think you'll be thrilled with the information that our guests today have to share with you. They're from the LeadingAge Center for Aging Services Technologies. They go by CAST, yet another CAST in our lexicon. And they'll be focusing on technology planning and selection tools, as well as their other resources. Next slide. So just a few reminders. I'm sure by now you Zoom experts all know. If you need to see the captions, click on the CC button on the control panel. Please use the chat window for your questions and comments. We will be monitoring those throughout the presentation. And Scott and Marge, just tell us when you'd like to hear about any questions or comments that have come in. You may or may not have received notification from Zoom that they are going to version 5.0 at the end of May. So you may want to update your Zoom app now. As usual, check in at the at3center.net events page and you will see what's coming up. We're excited about the June 4th event, which will be talking about business in the green zone, operating in the COVID-19 environment. In the interest of Zoom security, as you know, now registration links will be sent out via the AT3 Center listserv. Please complete any post-webinar surveys when you receive them, especially because the information about what your hot topics are helps us plan. Next slide. So hopefully by the end of today, you will know all about the resources of LeadingAge CAST, the process by which these resources were created, vetted, and kept up to date. You'll know more about the tools and the ways in which the tools can assist state AT Act programs. So at this point in time, we are going to yield the screen share to Scott.
Yeah, I think Marge is going to introduce LeadingAge and CAST, and then I'm going to talk about the tools.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you, Scott. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Marge Dolan. I'm the Senior Vice President of Technology and Business Strategy at LeadingAge and the Executive Director of the LeadingAge Center for Aging Services Technologies, known as CAST, as Amy mentioned. And for those of you who are not familiar with LeadingAge, LeadingAge is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization that has under its umbrella over 5,000 aging service provider organizations who are serving over 4 million older adults and individuals with disabilities across the country in the full spectrum of or continuum of services, from home and community-based services all the way to skilled nursing facilities, including, of course, affordable housing, congregate housing providers, as well as our forte or strength is in the retirement communities known as life plan communities, formerly known as continuing care retirement communities, and who are we have 90% of that market are not-for-profits and are members of LeadingAge. LeadingAge, as with the AT programs, have partners in 38 states, and our members are spread over 43 states. So that's in a nutshell who LeadingAge is. We primarily focus on education, advocacy, and research. Again, we're not your typical association, because we also focus on helping our members and helping providers in general, as you will see, providers of aging services who are serving both older adult and individuals with disabilities in many cases, keep an eye on the future and help them to prepare for that future. And this is exactly why back in 2002, LeadingAge, or ASA at the time, the American Association of Homes and Services for the Aging, partnered with the Wharton School of Business to conduct scenario planning exercise, and that scenario planning exercise identified technology as the biggest uncertainty or the biggest factor that's going to change the way we deliver aging services. And of course, we're almost 18 years, almost 20 years from that prediction, and it couldn't be more true, as you can all see today where we are. So again, the CAST program was launched in 2003 formally to bring researchers from universities as well as aging forward-thinking and innovative aging service providers together with technology developers, corporations, and technology vendors together around the premise of technology. So we did a lot of things. Maybe Scott, you can walk the audience or the attendees on some of those aspects on our website as I sort of go through them. So we've done a lot of things, including conducting strategic scenario planning exercises that identified key enabling technologies, and then sort of started developing tools to help our members ingrain technology into their strategic planning and inform them on how to conduct strategic IT planning to ensure that they have the right infrastructure to support all of the promising and potential enabling technologies that they're thinking of incorporating, right? Then we honed in and started developing hands-on tools that you're going to be seeing later today in different aging services categories, technology categories. We started with electronic health records as the foundational technologies, and then moved on to telehealth and remote patient monitoring, to medication management, functional assessment, shared care planning, care coordination, social connectedness and engagement, safety technologies, and the last tool we did last year was on selecting a health information exchange that is suited or capable of connecting aging service providers. And this year we're working on data analytics primarily for aging service providers. So the majority of these tools are geared towards providers primarily of aging services, and this is definitely true for electronic health records, for example, for shared care planning and care coordination, right? But some of the tools are also useful for consumers, whether these consumers are family caregivers who are looking for products and services for their loved ones, or older adults or individuals with disabilities that are looking for appropriate technology platforms that fits their needs, where they live, and so on and so forth. So that's at a high level. So the other things that we do, and you will see with these tools when Scott starts sort of peeling these onions, you will see that they're comprehensive one-stop shop that discuss everything you need to know about these technologies, including commercially available products available on the market, their functionalities and features, the strength of the company, the business models available, and how to correctly attribute and calculate ROI, what are some of the payments or even subsidy opportunities out there for them, and so on and so forth. The other thing that we did in addition to these tools is I want to point your attention to two things. One is a white paper on cybersecurity, and again, a self-assessment tool to help providers better understand their security positioning, their cybersecurity positioning, and identify and address the potential gaps that they might have. The other resource is a vision video that we've produced to showcase the value of technology to aging service providers, but more importantly, the value of tech-enabled aging service providers who have the technology to other potential partners in the broader healthcare ecosystem, including the payers and acute care, physicians and hospitals, and so on and so forth, in terms of addressing a lot of things, including, of course, the social determinants of health and aspects related to quality of life that normally healthcare providers do not or previously did not pay much attention to. So with that, I'll stop here. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about this general overview, but I would turn it over to Scott to dig in deeper and show you the resources that the comprehensive resources that we have.
Sure. Is there any questions right now from anyone? Okay, so before I start, I just wanted to let everyone know that all these tools and resources are available on our website, and they're completely free. All you need to do is go to our website, leadingage.org, as we're right here, and under Centers, if you click Centers and go to Centers for Aging Service Technologies, that's where our group resources pull up. And today I'm primarily going to be talking about the technology selection tools, which are right here. But I also wanted to mention some of the things that Marge already talked about, like the strategic IT planning workbook, process flow charts. Those are there if you're interested in as well. And the cybersecurity resources and the videos. But today we're going to primarily go over the technology selection tools. And the framework that we're basically using, hold on one second. My son just walked in the room and I need to make sure he gets out.
We're all learning and adapting to working from home, as you can see. That's not planned. That wasn't a planned part of the demo.
Yeah, sorry. He literally sat down. Sorry. He was napping. This is the world we live in now. So the framework that we have for each tool is that there's 5 components. There's a white paper, there's an interactive guide, there's a technology selection tool, a matrix, and case studies. And I'm gonna kind of go over a high-level overview and show you what those each look like. So for every tool that we have, each one has these 5 main components. And the first one is the white paper itself. And that basically is a comprehensive overview of that product category overall. It talks about the different types of technologies. In this case, it's social connection engagement technologies, the different modalities, the potential uses, payment models, and I'll click on it real quick. And you can see the table of contents. We define it, the types, the benefits, the potential long-term post-acute care business models, and the important planning steps, and then some of the people that wrote this. So when we create one of these tools, we have a work group of providers that are actually using this technology to help guide the content and actually write some of it, and also vendors to help contribute as well. So one of the main components is this white paper to give a provider a context of, so they have a background of understanding why this technology is important and how to potentially pay for it, and also important planning steps. But in terms of collecting product information, we do a lot of that ourselves, but that work group also helps create a product matrix, which is basically an extensive spreadsheet of a lot of different questions that vendors will ask vendors around their particular product features and functionalities. And I'll pull up one as an example. This is the social connectedness and engagement product matrix. As you can see here, this is a tab called business line. And basically a vendor, if they sell to, hospice, they put yes or no. And you notice on the bottom, there's all these different tabs. Does your social connectedness platform have video chat, audio chat? What type of embodiment? You can see all these different tabs. And the front end interface is a touchscreen, haptic prompts, voice control. So there's all these different questions that we ask. For this particular product matrix, it's around 250 different questions. And it took us a couple months to create this. And what we do is, after we create this product matrix, we send it out to all the vendors that we know that are in this product category, and we give them about 4 weeks to take the matrix and complete it. And then we share it with all the other vendors and also the providers in the work group that are already using some of that technology to kind of vet that the responses are correct. However, this information, it's pretty comprehensive. So we created an online selection tool, which basically summarizes high-level questions that will summarize the matrix to get data to get a high-level short list of vendors that meet your needs. So this is the online selection tool, which encourages anyone to read the white paper so they understand the product category. And so, for example, I'll do a demonstration. So say I'm a home health provider. I click that button. So now I have 35 products that meet that criteria. I'm looking for a system to connect and engage users to peers. I want it to have a video chat and audio chat, so 16 products. I need the following social engagement modalities to be, I want to have a community app, and also an activity calendar. And then embodiment, I'm looking at a tablet and an all-in-one computer, down to 7 products. And since this is a home-based setting, it's going to be a system for a single user. And I need it to be touchscreen, haptic prompts. So now I'm down to 2. I'm not interested in program development, equipment delivery, and I'm not really concerned about HIPAA or high tech. And I'm not really concerned about the hardware requirements. Click View Products. And here are the 2 that actually meet those requirements. And you can see here that it gives a short product description. And at the bottom, if we also ask the vendors to write a case study that's co-branded with a customer that they're already using their platform. And you can see here the company Wellzesta. If you click on it, it'll pull up a case study where they have partnered with Bridgewater Retirement Community, who's the main contributor to this case study, and highlights a use case of how this technology is actually being used in the real world. And you can see here we ask them what the organization name is, the type, the description, the objective, and then the things that we always really stress toward the end is outcomes, and we're always looking for quantifiable outcomes, and also looking at challenges and pitfalls to avoid, lessons learned, and advice to share with others, because we want our members and other providers to kind of share those lessons learned with each other. Along with that, each year we collect new case studies because we update the product matrix every year. So we release the social connectedness and engagement platform or tool 3 years ago, and every year since we've been updating it, and we collect new case studies every year. So we have a running list of all the different case studies that we've collected over the last 3 years. And we can consolidate all the lists of kind of lessons learned, advice to share with others on this document here. So if you're interested in kind of understanding some of the key steps of planning and implementation, it gives you some of those high-level details of how to do that. So just generally speaking, the other part of the 5 tools that we provide for each portfolio is an interactive guide. Interactive guide is basically, we got some complaints from providers that they didn't have time to read this lengthy white paper. So we came up with a way to kind of summarize at a high level some of the content. And basically, we created this interactive guide where it summarizes key parts of the white paper. So do you know the different types of social connectedness engagement technologies? If you say no, it'll give you a high level overview of that that question response. And then if you wanted to dive deeper into the content, you can link to section 3 of the white paper. And it goes basically through the whole structure of the white paper through this interactive guide. So you can skip parts of the white paper that you're probably familiar with by just clicking yes. And ones that you're not that familiar with, you answer no, and it'll jump into the more detailed content.
And it also, not only does it sort of help you overview the white paper, it's also driven by the flow charts, right, that we usually utilize in the planning process, right? So it will guide you through first pulling a multidisciplinary team, planning team, ensure that you have the right players on the planning team, make sure that you have the right input about the where that technology might interface with other departments, and the high level must-have functionalities and features that they believe you need to be having, as well as, again, any special considerations of the end user population, whether it's the older adults or individuals with disabilities, whether they have cognitive decline, whether they have special accessibility features that they need to focus. For example, vision impairment. You may need to focus on voice interface and again, vision enhancement or vision enhancement functionalities like contrast enhancement, changing color schemes, larger fonts, and so on and so forth. Sorry for the interruption, Scott. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. And so, just generally speaking, that for all the different tools that we have that are for technology selection, we have the same framework. So if you're interested in safety technology, we have the same thing. We have a white paper, we have the interactive guide, we have the online selection tool, the matrix, and case studies. And every year we pull the work group together and ask them if there are any changes to the matrix, because products and functionalities change. And we ask the vendors that participated in the past to update their information, and invited any new vendors that might not participate in the past, and also provide them opportunity to submit provider written case studies as well. So every year, we started with 1 or 2 tools, now we have 8, and we're going to create a new one. So every year we're building on it, and we're basically releasing an update almost every month now on these tools, and that's kind of our plan going forward, because every year there's usually more interest in the tools, because there's more technology vendors coming into the space, and there's more providers are starting to actually start buying more of these types of products. But as Maj mentioned, there's a convergence now of a lot of these technologies that, we're focused on providers technology for senior living, but there's a convergence with consumer facing technology. So there's a lot of vendors that are within our matrices and selection tools that can go for individuals living in the community as well. So there might be some, you might be able to leverage some of the content that we've already created to help provide information about products that might help individuals age gracefully. So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing. We just want to make sure everyone's aware of what we're doing, and also the process of how we've created it, and the framework that we've had. And it's been pretty successful in terms of every year when we first launch a tool. Sometimes we get pushback from vendors because it is a lot. It is an investment in terms of time to respond to all the different product matrix questions. But usually what happens, the vendors that are on the fence to do it, the next year they participate because they see that their product's not listed there anymore. They're not listed, and they see that it should be, because it's an important tool to be included in. So I want to pause there and see if anyone has any questions about our kind of methodology of creating these technology tools, the process, the content, or any feedback or questions about what we've been working on for the last few years. I'll stop sharing. Any questions from?
I do not see any in the chat. So obviously you were perfectly clear.
Yeah, I hope so.
Or people are still processing.
Yeah. I'm curious, has anyone seen any of our tools and resources or heard about them before? Okay, useful resource, new to me. Let's go. Yeah, so it's just going to leadingage.org and going to the Center for Aging Service Technologies gives you access to all this different content. There is some content that we will ask to log into your myleadingage.org account. You don't need to be a member, or there's a way that you can put in your contact information, just because we're tracking how some of this, who's using some of our tools. And we found that a lot of consultants, kind of technology vendor specific or technology consultants, are using our tools for their clients to do kind of IT strategic consulting when they're picking a technology product that they might help make a purchasing decision for a senior living provider.
Okay, I think you can continue.
Well, basically that was the summary of all the technology selection tools that we have. I wanted to open it up to the group to see, is there any synergies in terms of how we can help you do what you're doing at the AT programs, you leveraging some of the work that we've already done, because I don't want to duplicate some content that we're creating, or there might be something that we're not aware of that we can incorporate into our tools to enhance them as well.
Yeah, and we'd be happy to, Scott, if no one has any questions, and if anyone is interested in any of the other tools that are geared more towards the consumer, we're happy to demonstrate them. So for example, if you'd like to see what the medication management, again, medication management is very broad, but there are things at the prescriber end, right, from e-prescribing. There are things at the dispensing end, the pharmacy, but there's also on the consumer end, adherence or even administration if someone is giving the medication. So we're happy to go through those, or through safety technologies, or functional assessment and activity monitoring technologies. Any of those are, again, could be useful for consumers as opposed to purely geared towards providers.
Yeah, I just noticed there was a comment that our state is offering nursing homes grants to buy virtual communication and connectivity equipment. That will be good to share. So yes,
absolutely.
So that CMS recently, I think it was last month, approved to use civil monetary penalty funds to supply nursing homes basically with around, I think, $3,000 to purchase communication technologies such as tablets to have FaceTime or Echo Shows, and accessories to help sanitize them to keep residents socially connected during COVID-19, because they're basically having to stay in their rooms, and some of them don't have the funds to buy this technology, and this is allowing them to purchase that technology. So we've been writing about this in our newsletter and making our members aware to make sure that they apply for this type of funding, and to leverage some of these platforms that are in our social connectedness engagement platforms to put on the tablets to make them more user-friendly, because not everyone can use an iPad right out of the box to communicate with family and friends. And so the comment is right that there are a lot of technologies that can be beneficial to nursing homes, and luckily that now that there is funding available to purchase them. We are finding issues right now in affordable housing where it's a big issue because there's no broadband connectivity, and also residents don't have the funds to purchase technology. So we're working with a couple different organizations to try to advocate for broadband connectivity within affordable housing, not only for the social connectedness, but for healthcare. If you don't have connection, you can't do telehealth visits. So those are some of the things that we're also working on doing as well.
Yeah, the other, I saw a comment, someone wants us to do the medication management, but in the meantime, another grant opportunity that you all should be aware of is related to telehealth, and that's the FCC's Connected Care program, which included over $200 million of funding available to sort of healthcare providers to deliver telehealth, and it's for the aid in purchasing connected devices. And as Scott and I mentioned earlier, we're seeing that some of these devices play more than one role. Could be used for telehealth, but also could also be used for social connectedness and engagement and safety monitoring and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in that, we'd be more than happy to put the link to the FCC program. Oh, Amy already provided that. So she's always a couple of steps ahead of me. So
yeah,
Scott, you want to demonstrate the
sure,
the medication management? I would focus on the consumer end, on the medication adherence types of devices as well, so, in your demo.
Yes, just the online tool you're saying.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing, but really quickly focus more on the online tool.
Yeah, so this is the landing page for the medication management. Looks just like the social connectedness engagement, has the white paper, the interactive guide, the selection tool matrix, and case studies. So if you click on the case management or the medication management tool, you can see similar layout, asks you to read the white paper. First question is what care setting. We'll say home health. And I'm looking at more downstream instead of, upstream, not ordering or prescribing, but more medication administration or adherence to the patient, resident, or client. And I'm looking for more technologies around individual personal medication adherence solutions. And I'm looking at solutions that are interfacing with other devices such as telehealth. There's only one that does that. I'll take that one away. Actually, I'll keep it as I'm curious to see which one it is. I'm looking for technology that's HIPAA compliant. So one, click products. So tab safe. And this is the kind of the lead form I was talking about, that if you don't have a My LeadingAge account, it would pop up. You either can create a My LeadingAge account, or you could just fill out this form with your name and title. And we just collect that information to see who's using our tools. But if you want to dive deeper into the product specific information in the you would open up the product matrix, which is here, and I go over to the administration functions. Where's that tab? Dispensing, admin, adherence. So here's the questions that are more geared towards devices that are, let me enlarge this, that are more resident facing, that is around personal adherence. You know, is there audio reminders, video reminders, vibration, dispensing functions? Is it portable? Does it have a locking or tampering? Maximum numbers of dosage, maximum capacity, special packaging. And also, you know, when you're getting towards systems that are remotely monitored, is a device remotely monitored? If so, how is that actually communicated? Is it over the telephone line, DSL, or Wi-Fi? What's the monitoring fee, autofill? So these are all the questions that are kind of more pertinent to technologies that are resident facing or someone living in the community. You can see there's some of their NA because these are basically more upstream types of technologies, such as something that's built into an EHR platform. But the ones that are more resident facing, like ReadyMed and other in TabSafe, they have these functionalities listed here. So this is kind of where you see the more of the consumer facing products. Any questions about this, the medication management tool? And here you can see the different kind of modalities. We have the more upstream ordering, prescribing, then dispensing, and then the administration, adherence of patient, resident, client. So these are the different types of technology categories under medication management. So that's a brief overview of the medication management tool, which you can find the same way you found the other tools as well. And we, as I mentioned, there's case studies that are more geared towards medication management as well. But as you can see, there's not as many, partly because there's not as many providers using this type of technology. The case studies that we have the largest number fall under social connectedness and safety technology. If I pull up the safety technology case studies, you can see some here, and then the social connectedness one had the most, with about 10 every year. And we have over 100 case studies in general that span across all these different product categories for all the tools.
So here's a personal story. I wish I had known about you, and I'm assuming you could help. And that is, we needed to get my 90-something-year-old dad one of the I've fallen and I can't get up buttons.
Yeah.
And we did ultimately select one, and you know, they're not cheap.
No.
And not all that happy with it. We found the GPS was pretty poor, and also at his age, pretty significant hearing loss, and he could not hear the voice on the button. But anyway, tell me a little bit about the items you have in that category.
Yeah, so this is, I just pulled up the safety technology product matrix, and the tab that it's called the safety modality kind of has a breakdown of the high level different product categories. And the one that you're speaking of right now kind of falls under the emergency notification communication response systems. And the one you're talking about specifically is the personal emergency response system, or the PERS. That's like the traditional button pendant that you're talking about. But in general, we have other technology categories included, such as fall detection, location tracking, and access control, elopement prevention, and surveillance and monitoring. But you can get more specific into the different PERS functionalities the farther you go down in the matrix to understand the different features and functionalities. Marge, it looks like you wanted to say something.
Maybe you want to sort of go through the selection tool.
Sure.
And have Amy drive and provide input.
So this is the safety technology tool. So we'll select
So he lives, yeah, he
home.
lives independently, right, Amy? So
Yes,
home, okay.
home, and then you're looking for emergency notification system and single user.
Wait, hold on.
yeah,
It seems that you're also looking, you said, mentioned GPS, so you're interested in location tracking, right?
right, because believe it or not, until he was 96, he was driving.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you interested in auto detection and fall prevention? Is that a feature that you're interested in?
No,
No. Okay.
single user.
Single user. Okay.
Yep. And is the preferred method of pendant
Pendant.
or yeah?
Pendant or a smartwatch or
No,
no?
pendant.
Pendant's
Pendant.
preferred. Okay.
Not smartphone, smartwatch. I meant so wrist or anyway, that's fine.
And so the controls probably, if you're only going to have a pendant, are pretty limited to push. There are some pendants that do voice control as well. I don't know if that's something.
Yeah.
So if he's hard of hearing, maybe visual prompts as well, if it's available. Above, Scott, visual prompt.
Yeah.
On the push button.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
I think there's one that I know of that has both visual prompts and support for hearing. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks right.
And
okay.
I don't, this other stuff.
These are more relevant to providers.
Yeah. So the vendor support is more stuff for providers, and equipment delivery you probably wouldn't want. But all the other customizations probably not really relevant.
Right.
I don't think you're not really worried about the legal and regulatory requirements, or HIPAA so much.
Well, if they want the service to be monitored, maybe the TMA, CSAA, the 5 diamond certified.
Now we're down to 1.
Well, unclick that one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, unclick it. It's fine.
Yeah. But you always can go back and see.
You can refine, exactly.
Refine it. So click view products.
And maybe you can demonstrate the refine how.
Yeah, so these are the two that would have met your needs.
Theora Care and Status Solution.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any consumer review capacity?
We don't, and it's a little bit, we try to stay away from that area because it's, as you probably know, it's fraught with potential bias. Amazon is Amazon with all its resources is trying to combat fake reviews that are being sold at $5 a pop, right? So we try not to. We try to stay away. However, we have providers who are part of the work group, and if they see any of the objective, we try to keep our sort of comparison objective based on does it do this or not, right? As opposed to how well does it do it, is the user interface user friendly, and so on. And so those subjective questions, we try to stay away from them. Again, not to get into sort of the issue of potential bias. However, again, the providers on the group who are part of the work group who review everything before we put it in the public domain, sometimes challenge the vendors if they're familiar with a product and they know that it doesn't do it, or it doesn't do it well, or the product is misrepresented in the way it's described. They challenge this, and they get to change it. The other type of policing is vendor to vendor, right? Again, most of these within the same category, the information is shared among competitors, and they get to see what others are saying about their own products, right? And if they see something, they flag it. And that happened in the past, and we have sort of asked vendors to change the description or their responses to comply with the group. But the short answer is no, we don't do consumer. However, Scott and I, Scott and I actually participated with Tech for Enhanced Life, which does a lot of sort of reviews for consumers and has a panel of consumers. We've done this for medication reminder and dispensing systems. Recently, we can send you the link to that. But they have multiple user groups of older adults across the country that sometimes evaluate the products. But again, you cannot get over the personal bias, right? So, the conclusion actually from that report was that there isn't an ultimate great product or an ultimately bad product. There are great products for certain circumstances and certain conditions and certain sort of user profile or user characteristics, right? As opposed to, oh, this is the best thing since white sliced bread, right? That globally can work for anyone.
There was a question about, do we include kind of generic, more consumer-facing technologies such as like the Apple Watch in our list? We reach out to them, they just don't respond to our product matrix because it's not really one of the. Yeah, but we talk about it. We talk about how there's this convergence of technologies that's designed specifically for older adults, and then the consumer-based mainstream technologies, and how there's a convergence of these technologies where now Apple Watches have some of the fall detection technology that some of the wearable devices have that were already that are already developed for older adults, so that people might not even be aware of. There's older adults that are interested in a fall prevention program that, or even a safety technology that they might already own. They just don't know how to activate that feature. I do a lot of presentations for some of the villages in the DC metro area, and I talk about like how on your smartphone, if you click the side button 5 times, it causes your phone to make this really annoying sound and count down from 3 to 0 to call 911, and it's a safety feature. And how you can have fall detection on your watch and those types of things. So there is this convergence, and it's actually, I think it's going to help overall, because people like to have technology that's generally designed for all, right? Not for specific populations. So I think that technology adoption is going to get higher just because it's applicable to larger groups of people.
Yeah, and the other point is that again, as with the safety and the health monitoring, maybe even on the Apple Watch, today's technologies, especially wearables or handheld devices, they have a lot of the accessibility features baked in, from captioning to switching the enhanced contrast mode to sort of zooming and so on and so forth, that a lot of people are not aware of or not familiar with, that we need to get better at sort of highlighting and helping end consumers customize their experience on these everyday consumer electronic devices.
Great, thank you. I don't see anything else in the chat or in the Q&A. So a last call.
Maybe if they don't have questions, maybe we should test them and see. Send the quiz. No, so seriously, do you think this would be a couple of questions for the group? Do you think this would be helpful to your sort of constituents? Do you see synergies, as Scott mentioned earlier? Do you see potential synergies, potential area where we can collaborate with you on either enhancing, expanding, or improving any of the tools that we already have? And or do you see a gap, any gaps for a popular category of technologies that could be used by older adults and older aging service providers, as well as another segment of your constituents, individuals with different types of disabilities. So again, we're open, as you can see, and we're holding our hand out to collaborate with you all.
Okay, so Sandy mentioned, I could definitely see your site as a tool for our team to use when we get questions about these types of technologies and to expand our knowledge of what's out there. And that's partly why I was excited to learn about you and to offer this webinar, because I think the state AT Act programs are jumping into aging services because of some of the current opportunities,
Right.
the ADRC monies and pending partnerships. So I think that I would project that the state AT programs will in fact be using your tools more. And I'd be interested in hearing from you whether you see an uptick in some of your web statistics.
Sure. Yeah, we'd love to. Yeah, and by the way, as a side, we're working with the Administration on Community Living as well. We're one of many partners who are working with Lori Gerhard and Kelly
Cronin.
Thank you, Scott. On a compendium for sort of resources to help the broader segment of older adults and older adult consumers and individuals with disabilities more easily find the appropriate technologies, whether it's through our tools or any of the other search tools, including Able Data, which I'm very, very familiar with. So again, we're here to help. We're here to serve, and look forward to sort of being a resource to you all and potentially help you sort of expand, deepen your expertise and expand your reach.
Mm-hmm. And we, as Marge mentioned, we have LeadingAge state affiliates in 43 different states. So if you're based in Colorado, we have LeadingAge Colorado. You might want to reach out to LeadingAge Colorado state affiliate and kind of let them make sure that they're aware at the local level of what you're doing, and we can help make those introductions as well.
Yeah, if you'd like to reach to us directly, we'd be more than happy to connect you with the appropriate LeadingAge state partner there in your state.
Great. I was going to ask you if there's a listing on your website of those affiliates, but an introduction might even be better than a cold call.
Absolutely, yeah. We're happy to send you the link. There is listing of all state partners, but we're happy to do a warm introduction.
Great. All right, last call for questions and comments. Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for the informative presentation.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Scott, for posting the link, leadingage.org/state-partners. And have a great afternoon, and everybody stay well.
You too. Thank you, Amy, for the opportunity.
Yes.
And feel free to share our contact information, our email addresses. And we'll look forward to hearing from you and to working with you.
Okay.
And again,
well,
thanks for the opportunity.
This video recording will be posted on the AT3 Center's YouTube channel in a couple of days. I was contacted by some people who gave their regrets and are interested in the recording. So it'll be a bigger reach than just the 40 or so who attended today. And
Thank you.
Thanks again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Stay
Thank
safe,
you.
stay well. Bye.
Bye.